me like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for July 10th, 2024. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Xbox shuffles its Game Pass offerings, and Nintendo is teasing something creepy. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa, everybody. Jan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy on this Thursday morning.
Oh, no.
Better.
Oh,
What?
no, it's a Wednesday. I kind of threw a curveball on you there. I needed you today instead of Thursday. Yeah, so you got 2 days left this week.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I've planned poorly, Grubb.
I'm back, everybody. We're back. We're doing it. I missed you all. Game Mess Mornings has returned. For people who are asking, hey, when is it back? It's now. The answer is now it's back. Glad to be back, though. Glad we could get back into the swing of things. I'm saying back a lot of times, so I'm just going to keep doing it. Back.
Alar.
We're back, everybody. Yeah, really happy about all this. It was a great time off, but hey, doing the show also makes me pretty happy too. So glad we can make it happen. But Jen, how was it when I was gone? How were things? How was the news and all that?
I don't remember. It's probably like the same
the
feeling when one of us is gone for a week. Oh,
I just cussed. I've started doing that a lot. It's just cussing randomly.
Cuss. The week just goes by so fast, and we're always spinning plates here at giantbomb.com, and whenever someone leaves for a vacation, we want to make sure that they are uninterrupted and go on the proper vacation.
Correct.
So
yes.
Continue to spin plates that it's like we put a cardboard cutout of said person and just like pretend they're still there.
Right. Yeah. We go spin the plate for them, but the cardboard cutout is holding it somewhat. Exactly. Yeah. And I did feel like I could get out there and enjoy myself. And but
Good.
it's something we talked about when you got back, where it's like the scaffolding that holds us up is like all of the stress of making sure everything's working. And then when I let that melt away, it's a little bit hard to rebuild that scaffolding a little bit, which is why I think we're afraid of taking vacations in the first place.
Yes.
It's like, I'll lose that momentum, but whatever. It went fine. Here we are. We're back in the swing of things, and it's going to be completely fine. So yeah, glad I was able to do it. Looking forward to it. You got a trip coming up soon. How much are you talking about this trip? Are you like, let people know the details? You ready to dox yourself?
Yeah, totally. 100%. I'm staying at this hotel. No. I'm going to Japan, unfortunately, only for a week. So Saturday to Saturday, or this Saturday to next Saturday. I've already booked tickets to Disneyland, of course, because I am also a broken Disney adult like Mike Minotti. Very excited. I plan to meet up with a friend of the website out there. I don't want to dox him. I think he's announced that he's going to be in Japan. And we're going to have a fun old time out there. I'm ready to buy so many jeans, Grubb.
Are you like saving room in the suitcase, or are you bringing an extra suitcase, or are you going to buy a suitcase when you're out there?
I'm going to buy a suitcase out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, your dollar's going to go very far. You might as well.
Listen, I'm going to buy several of the white t-shirts from the Bear.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Even if I don't fit them, I'm just going to get the largest freaking size.
Yeah, I don't, it never feels good like just getting clothes from Japan. So they do assume you're going to be a little bit svelter than I'm running these days.
Yeah. And then, Grubb, to add to the insanity, I'm going to be back here for like 2 days. And then I'm getting shipped in a box to Comic-Con because our dear friend Emma Fife needs help.
Yes, you got to go help Emma. Okay, so you got some busy times coming up.
Oh boy.
I
don't know what to expect from Comic-Con, Grubb. Like I have like gone used to the conventions, the gaming conventions of E3, SGF, and PAX to an extent. Never been to Gamescom. but I have no idea what to expect from Comic-Con.
And this is San Diego Comic-Con, right? This is the
Yes.
Okay. Well, so at least you get to go to San Diego, which we definitely enjoyed during DreamHack. So that, I try to remember the name of it, Jan. It came to me. I got it. But yeah, I don't know. We enjoyed San Diego, so at least you get to enjoy that city. But yeah, I was real. So I'm like, no, I've been to Comic-Con. No, I haven't. I have no idea what you should expect.
I hope to see our dear friend Chef Bob out there.
Yeah,
once or twice, and yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. All right, we should explain what we do here most weekdays. I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Xbox Game Pass is getting a price increase and introducing a new tier. This is from Eddie McHugh and George Yang at GameSpot. Microsoft has revealed some upcoming changes to Xbox Game Pass, including raising the price of several tiers, the introduction of a new one, and the closure of another. Starting July 10th, Xbox Game Pass for console will not be available for new members only, but those who are currently subscribed will be grandfathered into this tier. With its existing access to day one releases, including first-party Microsoft exclusives, instead, new members will be able to access Xbox Game Pass Standard for $15 per month. However, it will not include perks such as day one releases, access to EA Play, Game Pass for PC, and cloud gaming. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate's offerings will remain unchanged, so you'll still get the day one Game Pass, EA, all that stuff, but it will be seeing an increase from $17 per month to $20 per month. Xbox Game Pass Core is also getting a price increase, with its annual charge of $60 increasing to $75. However, the monthly price will remain $10. The price for PC Game Pass will increase from $10 per month to $12 per month, but will still have day one releases. All of these price changes will take place starting on September 12th. Jan, do you get it? Do you understand all that?
Yes and no. Mostly no.
Yep.
I just know that they're doing this for Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it for... That's definitely the number one factor here, is they have this big game that they said would be in Game Pass. And now here are the caveats to that. That's a big game that sells very well. I think they want to make sure they get as much money from it as possible. And they can sort of, the people that would get Game Pass for it, it's like, well, yeah, get Game Pass for it, but definitely go to that $20 tier. Now, Game Pass Ultimate is where most people already are on Game Pass. Something like 80% of people who have Game Pass just get Ultimate. So they were already paying the higher price. Now it's an even higher price now. But that being said, to me, when I look at this, Jen, and I see them, slightly de-emphasizing day one games on Game Pass, where it's like now that most of the tiers that are available to you don't include that, or at least most of those tiers on console, whatever. $15 per month and still not getting day one games is, and that's only for new members. So existing members keep that perk. It feels like the kind of thing where it's like, oh, they don't expect too many new members to come into Game Pass, going forward. And when they do, they want to get as much money from them as possible. And that's where the Ultimate comes in. So, yeah, this is about making money from Call of Duty, not making money from Game Pass. And I think that indicates where Xbox is now, where a little bit ago, it was all about, let's make sure we are growing Game Pass. That is the future. That is slightly less true these days, and now it is much more like, hey, we got to make money from everything that we have. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad strategy, but I think a lot of people are like kind of taken aback by this. They're a little surprised. But they've been saying this for a while now. Like 2 years ago, Phil Spencer mentioned, like, hey, Game Pass is about 15% of our business, and we expect it to remain about 15% of our business going forward. So they've just outright said it a bunch of times. That this is what Game Pass is. It's not going to turn into this massive industry disrupting force anytime soon. So that means they got to find ways to make more money from the people that subscribe, right?
I also feel really bad for their existing console base. It feels not that they're getting screwed, but they're getting nickel and dimed a bit more.
Right. Yes,
When
that's what's happening with them. Yes.
like at this point, if I was purely a console gamer, I would really think about exploring getting like a budget gaming PC
Yeah.
and trying to just play COD there. Like at this point, what are you missing on the Xbox that you couldn't also get on a PC?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot recently, Jan. Where I was like on the trip, and I was it was just kind of like laying on the beach and thinking about stuff, and then occasionally thinking about video games, and being at the whim of these corporations. Like for a long time, it wasn't such a bad thing because they would put extra effort in to like add perks to their consoles and make them stand apart. But it's like, well, when things go bad, these console manufacturers could panic and they could make decisions that make these consoles feel worse in some ways or sort of vanilla. And on PC, where it's like it is open, and anyone could do their stuff there. It's like it's sort of up to the community to make sure that the PC gaming remains interesting, and they've done that like kind of consistently from the beginning. So I definitely feel best these days about investing in PC, but not everyone's going to feel that way. And some people still want their consoles, and I don't blame them for that. I'll still have them. But I think that when I see stuff like this, it is, man, I am glad I'm mostly detached from Game Pass and what's happening over there. I'm not thinking about it too much. I think I do still have, a subscription, but this is all this did is remind me, hey, let's cancel that because I haven't been using it recently. So
yeah,
it's weird, but it is for me. Like, yeah, this is just where things are with these companies.
Yeah, and I know that on this website specifically, we've sung the praises of Game Pass as a service to be able to like check out a wide variety of games because it felt like such a great value.
It's still a decent deal, yeah.
And it still is a decent deal. It just feels like as if you were purely a console Xbox person, you were continually being disvalued as like a core person. And they're just trying to squeeze more out of you. Because I don't believe, Grubb, that there's gonna be a major influx of Call of Duty players joining Game Pass after this. I feel like a lot of those Call of Duty players, some of them, yes, are on Xbox, but a lot of them are going to be on the PlayStation.
Right.
And they're not gonna pick up Game Pass because they can't.
Well, yeah. And it's like there's other options. We'll talk about that in a little bit, where you don't have to buy an Xbox to take advantage of this. But those players they already have a PlayStation. They already bought it. They're going to just play it there. You're right. Listen, it moves the needle a little bit, putting Call of Duty in Game Pass. But yeah, I think you're right that some huge, new, massive, game-changing influx is probably not in the cards. So that goes back to what this is. Them trying to make more money from the people who already are in their ecosystem.
And I hate to say this, but like taking away day one games on the standard tier, at this point, what day one releases from Microsoft should I be expecting? Like in the immediate future?
Yeah, I mean, it looks a little bit better the second half of the year if we assume that like things like Avowed and Indiana Jones are going to be good, which I'm hopeful for both of them. But Hellblade came out, and I didn't care.
Exactly. But then at that point, I would just wait for all of those games to come out, and then I would resub to Game Pass later in the year rather than have that subscription going continuously.
Right. And I think that there will be discerning players out there who are going to do exactly that, where they're like, listen, I'm already playing this game on something that I own currently. I'm way into Final Fantasy 14 right now. When I kind of get through this content, maybe I'll look around and see the best deal I can get. And maybe at that point they hop on Game Pass for a month or two and they play through a couple of those games relatively quickly, and then they bounce back out. Like that way of playing games is still available to people, and they should be taking advantage of it. But what Microsoft needs is people excited about the service, so they want us they're like, well, I can't cancel because then I'll lose this and this and this. And none of that is happening right now, not in any major way.
And I feel like we talked about this ever so slightly yesterday on the Bombcast, but there's been like a flood of free-to-play games. And not that those free-to-play games will specifically be in the same Venn diagram as Xbox Game Pass players or Call of Duty players, but you have something like Zenless Zone Zero, First Descendant, Once Human. I think that's the
Yep,
one that dropped yesterday.
that's right.
Or Star Wars Hunters, is that free to play on
It's free to
mobile?
play
It's free to play on mobile
and Switch.
like
Yeah,
and Switch. That's gonna scratch the itch for some players to like, well, I don't have to spend money on these games. Like I can squeeze as much as I can without like paying for the gotcha mechanics or whatever energy stuff that you'd have to do. That I'm cool dipping out of Game Pass for a little bit because I can just like someone in chat mentioned like, yo, you can get like a 3-month voucher later in the year to get all of those games, play those games later in the year
right.
versus paying from here on out to the end of the year for Game Pass.
Yeah, and it's I think what Microsoft is seeing is like ideally at one point several years ago, the thinking was get a lot of people on Game Pass, and then those people would be actively in the Xbox ecosystem because their friends would have Game Pass, and they're like, well, when we're going to play a game tonight, are we going to play? We're going to play this game we already have on Game Pass. Sure, maybe. But then maybe one of these free-to-play games comes out, and it's like, well, we're already on Xbox, and that's where we play every night because we have this investment in Game Pass. Let's just go play it on Xbox as well. Let's play that tonight, and then spend some money on microtransactions because we have a regular gaming night again because of Game Pass. It was going to be this network effect, and it doesn't feel like that ever really panned out in any like major way. I think if anything, we've seen that those kinds of games have been doing slightly worse on Xbox than they have in the past, and they're doing better in elsewhere. Maybe not the Switch, but they're doing better elsewhere now. So people are going to be spending more and more time with those kinds of games, and not necessarily more and more time with them on Xbox. And that's kind of a bad formula as well, which I think is why we see Microsoft talk about, hey, we are looking past the console in a lot of major ways. We're not so interested in keeping people in our ecosystem in that way. Our ecosystem is going to broaden to be like, hey, Minecraft on mobile and Call of Duty mobile and King stuff, and we're going to get 1 billion gamers that way. It's like, okay, sure. In the meantime, the strategy on console feels a little bit stale and like it has not panned out the way they want it to, and now we're just kind of watching them sort of try to maneuver in a position where it makes the most money possible so they can justify their jobs.
Yeah, I would still feel very hesitant to recommend someone getting an Xbox now or even later in the year. For any Microsoft titles when you could just get it on a PC. And I see a couple of folks saying that, they don't want to be tied to their desk because with a gaming PC, but there's like a bunch of ways now to like stream that if you have a reliable connection to your living room TV. Moonlight works great.
Yep.
I use that sometimes. But also like the Steam Deck, and Asus Roger, you hook those bad boys up to your TV, and it's a similar experience to the Switch because the Bluetooth very reliable on both.
Yeah, and I get it. Some people are just never going to be down with PC gaming. That's fair. But I think all we were saying is there's a reason that PC gaming feels more popular than ever, and it is because when it's driven by the community, it's like look at esports. There are a lot of esports that were coming around, and it's like, this is going to be a big thing. And it's like, well, actually, no, this was just the marketing arm of a corporation who was trying to sell a video game. So the Overwatch esports league was this big thing. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, but as soon as the corporation loses interest, what happens to that esports scene? It kind of feels decimated. It feels like a desolated island now. And now, when you look at, okay, well, what about the community-driven ones? What about the ones that feel like that are more open, where people can take these games and run them themselves? It's like, well, no, Evo better than ever. Well, Evo owned by a corporation now, but in the fighting game scene overall is what I mean by that. The fighting game community pushes that stuff forward, and having that community-driven aspect is what makes it feel fresh, and that is what happens with PC gaming.
And I've always felt like a different vibe, like watching esports versus the FGC, where like organized stuff like Dota or League or Overwatch, like you mentioned, Grubb, feels like a corporate manufactured type of experience versus what started as like a grassroots organic type of thing with the FGC. Like even Nintendo being weird with like Smash being at Evo and all these other tournaments, that scene and that those people over there still going super duper deep into that scene and just like loving that game.
Exactly. Yes. And it's so when I look at like, PC versus console, it's like PC just has that kind of an ownership over it from its community that they steward it. Now obviously like, Steam is there and massive, but there's people feeling ownership over Steam too. And you see that how that manifests over and over again.
While we're talking about like esports and stuff, like another scene that I feel like has grown very organically and just feels very fun to see pop up, and you see younger and younger players popping up, is the competitive Tetris scene.
Yep.
Like seeing these kids like do the flicking thing with the NES controller. It's
Yep.
like, oh,
Hyper
y'all.
tapping or whatever it is. Yes, I love that. We were playing Mario Party and something, and it was me, Dan, Mike, and someone. Maybe it was Bailey. And Mike was just like, "I'm going to crush everybody on the tapping the things," and I'm like, "I'm going to try the hyper tapping thing." And I like got my hands set up so I could hyper tap the buttons by just tapping the back of the controller, and I kind of won easily. So I'm like, "This is the new tech for me. I need to take advantage of this more frequently." All right, so we talked about many reasons why this might be happening, but there's kind of an obvious reason staring us in the face when we look at like how the games are performing. The former NPD group, now called Circana, put out their report earlier this week, and Hellblade 2, which came out in the month of May, was nowhere on the top 20 best-selling games of the month. So people asked Matt Piscatella about it, and he offered a little bit of more information. This comes from IGN, Kat Bailey. New Hellblade 2 sales data offers a clearer picture of how it did on Xbox Game Pass and the charts. Hellblade 2 was billed as one of 2024's big exclusives when it released back in May, but overall sales numbers have been hard to come by since launch. Now, thanks to Circana's most recent sales data, we have a clearer picture of its performance. According to Circana analyst Matt Piscatella, Hellblade 2 was 37th overall in terms of full dollar sales from May 2024, putting it at 21st overall on Xbox Series consoles. Hellblade 2 did not receive a physical release. Also, it was only $40, and these charts are arranged by dollar sales. And also, I think it just didn't sell very well. And digital sales obviously would be included because it did end up on the chart at some point. Notably, Hellblade 2 released on Xbox Game Pass at launch, and that was born out of its engagement data, where it ranked 12th on Xbox in terms of monthly active users. That puts it behind Fallout 76 on the platform, but ahead of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Apex Legends, and Forza Horizon 5. Piscatella shared the sales info on Twitter, since Hellblade 2's performance meant that it didn't appear on any of the major charts. I think that, Hellblade 2 was never destined to be a top of the charts seller, obviously with Game Pass being there. But even with all that considered, this is pretty rough. And if they are not going to like put out physical versions of these games, making sure that they do get more people willing to spend, $60 or $40 or whatever in this case, but $60 up front on these games is going to remain important to them. And that's what it feels like the change is about. It's like, hey, maybe people will pay $15 per month to us for this library of games and online multiplayer, which maybe that's not even included in the standard. So they'll pay $15 per month for this library of games, and then also give us money up front for new releases. And they're trying to get this best of both worlds situation, and I just don't know if that's in the cards for them either.
Yeah, I feel bad for Hellblade 2 despite not enjoying any minute of it.
Yeah, same.
Just because I feel like was it like a Game Awards and then a Summer Game Fest, like it had such a huge presence during either one of those shows, or maybe both of those shows. Definitely during the Game Awards, where they had like that huge orchestral sequence. And the game looks beautiful, but it also feels like that Microsoft kind of let it hang there on its own, because I don't remember seeing any type of marketing for it. It just feels bad all around, Grubb.
Right, and it's like, maybe it did do all right on Game Pass. But, we're in a world now where we're looking at what happened to Tango Gameworks, and, I'll keep saying that, Tango Gameworks didn't make enough money, and that's the real reason why the studio got closed. But they would say, hey, no, that game did all right, Hi-Fi Rush, and then the studio's still closed. So is now Ninja Theory in that same situation? And why wouldn't we assume that maybe, yes, they are?
Yeah. And it's... it's such a weird place for Hellblade 2 to come out. Like I don't remember when the first one released, but it's such a dry period from Microsoft because of how they were also despite not marketing it, they were also positioning it to, I don't want to say save the Xbox lineup, but like really bring people back. And I always felt like Hellblade 1 was kind of like a cult success,
Yeah,
not like a mainstream big hit. Like
that's
you
right.
didn't see people dressing up as Senua or
Not really,
Lego
no.
Senua.
Yeah.
Maybe not yet. Who knows, Grubb? Yeah, put the leaf blower away, guys. But yeah, it just felt like an odd choice to put this much weight on the game, but also not put this much faith in the game. It seems like to an extent.
Yeah, and this is a situation where maybe they were between a rock and a hard place, where it's like, do we invest more to make this game feel bigger and more important, make it a $60 game, make it a 20-hour experience, spend several more years making it in that case, and it's like, well, that doesn't feel like it would necessarily pay off based on the response to what this game was when it did launch, but then also the $40 a shorter experience, not a lot of new like ways to engage with it compared to Hellblade 1, according to the people who played it. Again, I've not really spent much time with it. And it's like, okay, I mean, there seemed like there was no great answer here, but honestly, just making the game good might have, better, probably would have helped. I don't know. But either way, they want to be selling more games. They do. They want to, or at the very least, maybe that's a wrong way of putting it. They want to be making more money from everything that they put out than what they're making from everything they're putting out. And I think that they're back at a point now where they believe that selling games on day one is more important than growing Game Pass. That seems pretty clear to me at this point. I don't know if everyone paying attention to the show right now agrees with that, but I mean, it's hard to like lay out a counter case, in my opinion. If you want to try to make the argument against that's what's happening, go for it. But based on all the evidence before our eyes, based on Microsoft's actions, it feels like the importance of Game Pass is being diminished. It's not going to go away. They're not going to shut it down. It will continue to be an option, but it is not the platform anymore.
I don't understand business. I'm not going to claim that I do, Grubb.
I don't think anyone does.
I don't know if they know what they're doing sometimes.
Yeah. It seemed like the Game Pass strategy was, let's be disruptive now, so then we could be the leaders in this space. And when what happened to movies and music happens to games, we will be positioned as the first movers, and we will be the Netflix, and we'll be associated with that, and people will just come to us. And I mean, at the time, it seemed like it made some sense, but now here we are, and it's like, oh man, gamers are just way more obstinate and than everyone else, and they spend so much more money per gamer than like music listener does, or book reader, or movie watcher, that I think gamers feel more ownership over the hobby than some of those other in those other mediums. And so when they're like, no, I want to do things the way I'm used to, the way I like to do it, and I don't much feel like changing, I think Xbox found out the hard way that they weren't able to like control the behaviors of player. I mean, they should have known better. They used the carrot instead of the stick this time. They were going to use the stick with the Xbox One launch, where they're like, we're going to take away digital or renting games and selling used games and all this stuff. And they're like, okay, well that didn't work. Everyone freaked out about that. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to build something that's very enticing and make people want to come to us. And I think that was a better strategy, but it also had its limits, because you're talking about changing player behavior, and that's not very easy to do. Finally, on this topic, new Microsoft advert highlights that you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. Microsoft has released a new advert highlighting the ability to play Xbox games without a dedicated console. While it has been possible to play Xbox games via cloud on PCs, mobile devices, and select smart TVs and VR headsets for some time, support for the feature was this week extended to some Amazon Fire TV Stick devices. To do so, players have to install and launch the Xbox app from their Fire TV device, sign in with a Microsoft account, sign up for Game Pass Ultimate if they haven't already, and connect a controller to play. Those last like four phrases there is what I would call the last mile problem, where it's like people have a hard time getting over all of those humps, but whatever. this is one of the things people point to, Jan, to say, well, no, clearly they're still investing in Game Pass because they're making moves like this. And I just don't think Fire TV is the answer for Game Pass in any real way. This doesn't change much.
Grubb, can I go on the weirdest analogy?
Please, I would love it.
Okay. Everyone forgive me. It feels like Microsoft is the person in a failing relationship trying to open the relationship, and perhaps that will save it.
Sure.
And it's like, hey, you know what? Like, you can do whatever. You can go there now. You can go here. You don't gotta be here all the time with me, but like, I'll be here, and that'll save us.
Yeah.
I don't think that works, Grubb.
I don't listen. If it has, I've never seen it, Jan. I think you're kind of on the money here with this one. Where, listen, in the short term, I think Microsoft's like, let's just try a bunch of things. I still think they have this like some long term strategy about trying to fundamentally change the way the gaming market works, where maybe the law, maybe regulation will force game stores to be on other consoles and other platforms, and then maybe at that point we could put an Xbox store on a PlayStation. And again, that's my tinfoil hat long-term like conspiracy theory about what Microsoft's trying to do here, so it could be completely wrong. But like, I think like if they're thinking super long term about like what is their best chance to like recapture an ecosystem, I think they're starting to think that way. And in the meantime, every move they're making feels like a half measure at best. I just try and like put myself in the shoes of like a parent during the holiday season, like looking for a gift for their child or their nephew, niece, whoever, young kid in their life, and like just being decentivized to get an Xbox, and just having that mentality of like, okay, it's either Nintendo or the PlayStation. And I know that like media literacy, or not media literacy, but like buying literacy at least is higher now, where people buying consoles are not just thinking of the Nintendo one or the PlayStation one, but they're thinking of the Switch or the PS5. And some people will be more clued in that, okay, a Switch 2 is coming, so maybe I'll just go get the PS5, because I haven't heard any positive buzz about the Xbox in a while. And and it doesn't feel like Xbox is necessarily trying to change that all that much. And instead they're like, yeah, we get it. Listen, we don't got the stuff. We're not going to give you the stuff. So I don't know, go play our games on Amazon. And I appreciate all of the difficulties that like Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty have highlighted in their conversations in the past, where they would say stuff like, we lost the last console war, and that was a really rough one to lose, and everyone has all their digital libraries, so we're never going to get PlayStation people to switch over to Xbox. And I appreciate that. Even if they were to make a game that everyone had to have, well, look at what's happening to the PlayStation 5 right now. They have a lot of games that people have to have, and even their console sales are dropping year over year at the moment. And so it's like, okay, so Xbox could do all the work to try to grow that, but they would probably just be maybe taking some small percentage points here and there from PlayStation, and that's not really growth. That is fighting, that's squabbling back and forth with another company over the same piece of pie that they've always been fighting over. And now Microsoft has officially spent enough money on investing in games that is not enough anymore. So they have to make so much more money than they've ever really made. And now they have the tools to do that by having Call of Duty and King and all these things. Like, that stuff will help them make that money. But that's the point now. It's like Call of Duty and King, and what does that have to do with Xbox? Nothing really, because those King games aren't on Xbox at all, and Call of Duty is not exclusive to Xbox. And those are the solutions to the current problem. So why emphasize Xbox? And they haven't been for years now, is really where we're at. And this goes back to that thing about 2 years ago, we said Game Pass was 15% of our business. They just flat out say these things, and it takes kind of years for it to filter down to the people who play on Xbox to fully believe them. But believe them. This is it. This is what they're doing now. And I don't, again, like with Game Pass, this doesn't mean the Xbox consoles go away. This doesn't mean they're going to disappear tomorrow. They'll release another one. They'll probably keep releasing them. But it is just going to be one option of many.
I feel like I see like a new special edition Xbox One that is like skinned like a different property every other week.
Yes.
So like the boxes are still being made. I just think like they're not pushing the box. They're definitely not pushing the boxes as hard as they were.
Yep. All right, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we got a lot more to talk about, including a creepy smiling man video that Nintendo uploaded earlier today. It's weird. Right after this. All right, we are back, and let's get right back into it with what the hell is Nintendo teasing with this creepy smiling man video? This is from Michael McWhorter at Polygon. A new teaser trailer for something called Emio is already one of the strangest things Nintendo has ever done. On Wednesday, the family-friendly game maker posted a 15-second teaser that centers on a spooky mystery man wearing a smiling paper bag mask. Maybe it's Dan Reichert after he mentioned wrestling. It's unsettling enough that Nintendo has flagged the video as age-restricted and, in some countries, prefaced the trailer with the warning that it contains scenes that some viewers may find disturbing. The only other thing to appear in the video, outside of the creepy trench-coated man, is the kanji symbols that meaning Emio or smiling man. Nintendo fans are puzzled about what Emio is, with some joking that it's edgy viral marketing for the Switch 2 or speculating that it's a first-party Nintendo horror game. Naturally, Hideo Kojima's name is being tossed around because teasers are his trade. Kojima's already busy with Death Stranding 2, OD, and Fizzant. Yeah, whatever. Outside of the Spooks Played for Laughs Luigi's Mansion series, Nintendo rarely dabbles in horror. The most prominent examples of Nintendo exploring the genre are M-rated games like Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, and Fatal Frame Maiden of the Black Water, both of which were developed by third parties and published by Nintendo. I'll get this up here so everyone can take a look at it, but this is strange. What do you think it is? This has got to be Luigi's Mansion 4, right? That's the only thing that could explain this.
Luigi's Mansion 4?
Yeah, look at this creepy man in a trench coat. And
Luigi has changed.
Luigi, yes, the Luigi game is very different, but the players are the same. Yeah, that's it, everybody. It's just 15 seconds of a man in a trench coat and a smiling face paper bag on his head, kind of flashing in and out of a room. Yeah, and that's
people
it.
I don't know where people are. Okay, okay. This is a Bloober Team joint, apparently.
Yeah, that has been some of the speculations that this is a Bloober Team joint. It is. Let's see here. It just says who is Emio in the YouTube description. But yes, I think people were able to kind of piece together that some of this is Bloober Team, and I think there might be more of that here in. Yes, Emio might also be a project from Bloober Team, developer of Silent Hill 2 Remake and the Layers of Fear series. Bloober said in 2023 it was working on a new game codenamed Project M with Studio Draw Distance that was being developed for Nintendo platforms. Draw Distance has since been removed from that project, which is now being worked on by Bloober Team under a subsidiary known as Black Mirror Games. That subsidiary has just one post on social media, a message of congratulations to Nintendo that also includes a piece of mysterious concept art. With the Nintendo Switch nearing the end of its life cycle, maybe the folks behind Mario and The Legend of Zelda have decided to get a little weird and throw some curveballs at the console's aging audience. Yeah, Nintendo does tend to get a little bit more strange at the end of its consoles. This feels a little bit different than that, but I'm for it.
Yeah. Hey, one of these days, Bloober Team has got to have a hit, right?
Yeah, listen, they got to make something that's all right, even though people will always say I gave what is the one with the flashing or the like flashing in and out of existence that required the SSD on the Xbox. Like I said, I gave that game a 10 out of 10. I never played that game. Medium. Thank you, Sean. I never played the game, but people say I give it a 10 out of 10. I don't know. I don't think I've played a Bloober Team game. And this looks strange, but we've just seen 15 seconds of a teaser, and I'm almost more interested to see it from the viewpoint of what sort of strange creepiness would Nintendo be publishing.
Yeah.
And I think we have to assume that Nintendo's probably publishing this because if they weren't, they wouldn't put a video like this on their channel that does not say who is making the game. Because I think they would not want to take like have people coming to them be like, hey, what is this game? But they're like, well, no, we're just posting a video for one of our partners. They would always list their partners, I would believe, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not the case. I don't know. What is this kind of strangeness you want from Nintendo?
We've been saying this for like this period of time before Nintendo announces and releases the Switch 2. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, for real. There will be some games that like kind of come out right in that window of like Switch 2 is announced and the Switch is still going, and I hope that stuff is the strangest the console has seen so far. All right, let's keep going here. Star Wars Outlaws character progression breaks Ubisoft's open world mold. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Later this summer, Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment will put players in the role of Kay Vess in Star Wars Outlaws, an open world game set in the Star Wars universe. Traditionally, Ubisoft's open world games, including the Assassin's Creed series, allow the lead characters to build up their skills through experience points. However, Star Wars Outlaws is shaking up that formula by making players level up Kay's skills by sending her on special missions. Via IGN, Star Wars Outlaws co-director Matthias Carlson explained that there are experts spread throughout the game who can offer Kay new abilities and upgrades in exchange for completing tasks and missions for them. He also indicates that the experts are fully realized characters in their own right. They are full-on characters, said Carlson, so they're spread out in the world and you don't know exactly who they are, what exactly they have to offer you, and how to reach them from the very beginning. So there's this journey of discovery here as well, and once you reach them, there's a character there to interact with and an adventure to go on, because they won't instantly just, oh, here you go, and then they essentially open up a little regional progression for you where the nature of those things is also very tangible. This is fine. I'm fine with this. I like upgrading my character with experience points. I always do. Yeah. I have no issue with that. But as long as this makes sense and is fun and is a decent loop, I'm also for this. Like, there's no reason this couldn't work as well. How do you feel about it?
I haven't had much interest in an Assassin's Creed game, so right. I'd be fine completely with breaking that loop. We're just trying something completely different. And I don't know, every little tidbit that we hear from Star Wars Outlaws, I keep getting more and more interested. And I hate to say it, Grubb, I think I got the Star Wars bug back.
Are you watching Acolyte or something, or what?
Oh, am I watching Acolyte? Yes.
Yeah, Acolyte's mostly working for me. I don't love the way it looks, but I'm like, see, it's a TV show. You know, I listened to a More Civilized Age, and Austin said it's like young adult fiction, and then it's like, oh, okay, yes. I can accept what this is now. That has really helped. So
it is peak. Like, if they had condensed the Acolyte into like a 90 to 2 hour movie, it feels like it would be targeting the same audience that like Hunger Games or the Divergent series is trying to get 100%. And also, y'all seen Manny Jacinto's arms? Damn.
Yes. Right. There are some people, like when I say I don't like looking at it, I like looking at some of the things, and that includes him. He looks incredible in there. Some of the characters also look very, very cool. But yeah, Acolyte is definitely better than a lot of other Star Wars stuff that's happened with the live action TV series recently. And I am I want to explore like a world where I'm not a Jedi, where I'm just someone trying to get by, a scoundrel. This game is promising that, so it's been the game that I've been wanting for quite some time. So I've continued to be hopeful about it. And I think people played the game or saw some of the game around Summer Game Fest time. Some of the reactions were mixed. I'm hoping that the next time we get the chance to see it, that people are like, well, I played it, and actually it's a ton of fun. It feels like if they could just nail some of the base things that you're doing, the basic loop of going out in the world, doing some scoundrel shit, coming back and getting more stuff that makes your scoundreling even better. That sounds pretty good to me, and that seems to be what they're talking about here with this progression.
Yeah. Let me be a space scoundrel finally in the Star Wars universe.
Lexi says she played it and thought it was neat. That's good enough for me right now.
Yeah.
Arc System Works is working on a new 3D Double Dragon. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Arc System Works is working on a 3D revival of classic beat-em-up Double Dragon. According to the latest issue of Japanese magazine Famitsu, the new game will faithfully recreate the action of the original side-scrolling titles with characters recreated in 3D with Arc System Works fighting game know-how. Arc System Works is the developer of many popular fighting games, Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. According to Famitsu, the new Double Dragon will be released in 2025 for PS5, PS4, Xbox, and PC. I could see where my knuckle hit the period and enter. Did I put a period in chat? Hell yeah, let's fucking go. Let's go. There was a time in my life where Double Dragon was like, well, that's one of the important games franchises. Me and Mike always talk about this. It's like, that's, there's Mario and there's Zelda and there's Mega Man and there's Double Dragon. And that just hasn't been true forever. But I'm glad it's coming back. Do you have any affinity for Double Dragon?
Yeah, Jimmy and Bimmy, I like those two.
Yeah, that's who they are.
Maybe Double Dragon as like a franchise has not been as important, but like the foundation it has laid out, Grubb, is definitely there. I feel the DNA through the gaming industry.
Right, and it's always had a legacy that has gone with the Kunio-kun games and stuff like that. So yeah, listen, Arc System Works making a beat 'em up that is Double Dragon. Hopefully, them recognizing where beat 'em ups are at these days, which is they could be a lot more complicated than the arcade days. And you don't have to be, here's a simple thing where no matter what, here's a combo from an enemy that you're 100% going to get hit because we need them to lose life, so they put in more quarters. It's like, no, here's a complex combo system that the player can use and some cool dodge moves with iframes, because that's what like stuff like Streets of Rage and the new and Shredder's Revenge has that makes those games so much more fun. And yeah, give me more of that. I hope that's where we're at. And Arc System Works can clearly, they have the stuff to accomplish that. Now 3D, I hope 3D is just like, well, yeah, it's a 3D space, but I kind of hope it looks like an Arc System Works games. I hope it looks like Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like that would be great.
Yeah, I hope the language between 3D Double Dragon is not a mistranslation, but a misunderstanding, because like aren't the characters in Guilty Gear, they're technically 3D,
right? Yeah, they're made with like, I think they're all made with Unreal Engine, just using Arc System Works layer over Unreal Engine. I think, man, I could be wrong. But yes, it's like they are 3D models that just use a certain layer of shading, cell shading, to make them look 2D. Yeah, and that's what happens in Dragon Ball, happens in Guilty Gear, all that stuff that they make. So I hope it's like, let's just take that engine and make a beat 'em up with Double Dragon. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Give me that.
Grubb, at the same time, if anyone is gonna make like a very interesting 3D beat 'em up, I would trust Arc System Works.
At this point, like, right, if it comes out and it is actual like 3D polygons, no cell shading, it's just straight, like, whatever, I'll accept it. At the end of the day, I just want the combo system. I want the fighting mechanics of this beat 'em up to be really solid, and I trust them to do that.
It has been my dream for the longest time, Grubb, and I am once again putting this out there so this manifests into the universe.
Please,
Arc System Works needs to make a WWE game.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, like with their visual flair, that would be very awesome. I was like, hey, NetherRealm should just take that WWE fighter that they made for mobile and make that for console. But at this point, okay, maybe that's kind of an old idea, because they were like faux superheroes in that game.
Right.
Nah, just do a Guilty Gear, but with WWE characters. That'd be great. Okay, let's see here. Last couple of stories. Overwatch 2 gets Transformers collaboration. This is from Nintendo Everything. Another collaboration just appeared in Overwatch 2, and the game is now teaming up with Transformers. Players can get their hands on themed skins and join legendary Autobots and Decepticons as they bring their epic battles into Overwatch. Outside of skins, themed events and special rewards have also been added. Here's some additional information about what's featured in Overwatch 2. There's Optimus Prime across Reinhardt, so it's a Reinhardt skin. Bumblebee, instead, it will be a Bastion skin. RC, which I think, is that the Lady Transformer? No, RC and Ilari and Megatron will be Ramatra skins. And then there'll be a bunch of specific event collectibles, things like that. This feels, I know Overwatch has been doing a little bit more of this, but it feels a little undignified in some ways for that franchise, where it's like Overwatch used to just be like, here's an awesome skin for our original characters, and now they're like, here's some Transformer slop.
Yeah. I'm seeing that the prices of these bad boys are pretty up there.
Yep, that's what they do now.
Okay. Yeah. I don't. This isn't getting me to go back to Overwatch 2. But then again, I'm not a Transformers fan.
Right.
But I can't see this incentivizing folk to go back to Overwatch 2, especially because if I was a big fan of Optimus Prime or any of these Transformers we listed out, I would kind of just want to play as them versus like a reskin and being forced to play as this class or as a specific character that I may not even like.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. It's weird because for that very reason. So
yeah.
Like it works in Fortnite and Call of Duty because those like you build your own classes there.
Mm-hmm.
You go get your own weapons and stuff like that. Here it makes a little bit less sense. Now I get it. But it feels like the death throes of a franchise that is losing relevance, to be like, what can we do to get people excited? I don't know. Let's go partner up with another IP and inject that into our game. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't seen what the skins look like. Is this like the classic Transformers designs, or is this for that new movie coming out?
I think they're pretty classic. Let's just bring it up here. Overwatch Transformers, and I'll hit that, and then let's see if there's any images for that. Here is from Kotaku. Yeah, I mean, it looks kind of. Yeah, like the new movie is actually trying to do more of a style that is similar to the original like animated movie. Like that's what RC is, like right here. That's the lady one. And she looks pretty similar, like inspired by that, but there's definitely still like extra stuff, like extra accoutrement on top of all these characters that looks a little bit different. Yeah, I guess this is Megatron. He's got a cape. That's weird. I think I like it. I think I like it.
I know that like Bastion transforms and everything because it turns into a turret, but like, wouldn't you want Lucio to be Bumblebee? Because like Bumblebee's like the quippy, at least the current iteration of Bumblebee, very quippy and like Poppy versus Bastion.
That's a good point. Yeah, they do have similar personalities. I don't know. It's I would be interested to see how these decisions get made. What if part of it's just like, well, this character already has a skin, we got to give this other character a skin. I guess let's just use Bumblebee. I don't know. It looks all right. Like I kind of have nothing against it in terms of the way that they are doing the Transformer stuff. It just feels weird for Overwatch. And again, I know they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
All right. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League second season gets last minute delay. Are you going to be okay, Jan? I'm so sorry, bud.
God, we were gonna play this.
Ben Lyons at Game Reactor. Last week, Rocksteady told us about what the second season of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will bring to the table and confirmed that the season will start on July 11th, which is tomorrow. That won't be the case any further. The season has been hit with a delay that will push it back around 2 weeks, meaning you will now have to wait until July 25th to be able to suit up as Mr. Freeze, take on the new Brainiac fights, earn some new gear, and chip away at the fresh battle pass. I actually didn't know Mr. Freeze was going to be in this season.
I didn't know that either. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze is great, man. That animated series story with him, which I think is the introduction of Mr. Freeze. I think, maybe not. It's probably wrong. I think that the show introduced, what's her name? The lady everyone always cosplays as.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, yes. The show, that show introduced that character, but Mr. Freeze was probably before that. Yeah, Mr. Freeze is a very cool character that I've always had an affinity for because of that episode of the animated series. But I don't know. I bet Suicide Squad is not necessarily going for that. I mean, is this the last season of Suicide Squad you think that we get?
I don't know who else they would put in Grubb, or if the interest is necessarily there. Did you see?
Oh, it's Mrs. Freeze. Everyone's yelling at me. Okay, I listen. I didn't know there was a Mrs. Freeze.
That's who he's trying to save the whole time.
Oh, okay. So you're just gonna play as a Frozen Lady? That sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, that'll get Mikey back in.
That's
It's
true.
like an Elsa.
Listen, if
It's
a
an
woman's not
Elsa.
being fridged, he doesn't care.
The cold never bothered him anyway. Yeah, Grubb. I don't know. Did you see that there was a new Suicide Squad anime on Max, the one to watch for HBO?
I did not know that. I'll have to check this out. How is it?
It is called Suicide Squad Isekai.
Oh, okay. Where does it take place in King Arthur's court or something? Like what?
I don't know. I have not seen it. But it looked flashy from the art on the Max carousel.
All right. Well, hey, good luck with that. HBO or Max, the one to watch for HBO. I think they're getting rid of that. I think they're gonna like start calling stuff HBO originals again instead of Max originals. Weird.
Oh my god,
That's
so fucking stupid.
strange. All right, that does it for the news. I got a poll question that I will get up here right now, actually from forever ago. But we got your responses. Do you think that Kojima will work on Metal Gear in any capacity again before the universe ends? 69% said no. 31% have faith and said yes. I voted yes. I think yeah, that'll probably be the case. I think it'll just be like, oh, he signed off on it and says I'm executive producer or something like that, and barely does anything on it. But that counts. What do you think? You think we ever see that again?
Do you think there's ever a world where Kojima, he's already very popular, but he skyrockets where he just buys Konami?
Konami has too many other businesses. I suppose if Konami were like the spin-off, it's like video game businesses, maybe he would be in a situation where he could like spearhead that with investors. That's not impossible.
I forget about all the other things that
yes,
Konami
the
does.
bath houses and whatever, insurance. I don't know what else they have. Yeah.
I could see that bridge being mended in the future. I think I also voted yes in this poll.
Yeah,
I think there's money on the table, you know?
Exactly. And right. And people like if they were to come back and do the Metal Gear movie, at a certain point, if he like has some hits with like the Death Stranding movie, I wouldn't be surprised to see Konami be like, hey, yeah, let's just get him on board so his name's involved. And again, I think that would count. And then, when they do a Metal Gear Solid, 6 or whatever, maybe he's not involved in that first one, but like the next one, they're like, oh, and we got Kojima back on board. He approved everything, and it would just be a figurehead position, but still, I think that could happen. All right, that is the poll question. We'll have a new poll question here for the show tomorrow. Before we do that, though, Jan, what do we have happening on Giant Bomb and all that good stuff?
We will have a D-Light Club later today. We're still figuring out what to do for that.
Lots on the table.
Lots and lots on the table. If there's anything specific that's come out and dropped that you would like us to check out, please let us know. But Game Mess mornings for the rest of the week. Voicemail dump truck tomorrow, and we have UPF and BCR planned for Friday.
Yep, it's looking good. The week is shaping up. Tune in for everything. Blight Club will be back next week, everybody. I know it's been quite a hiatus, but Dan's recovery has gone well, and now both Mike and Dan are out of town today. So it's just how the timing works out occasionally. But yeah, we'll get back into it, and I think we'll have a couple of weeks in a row where we will play some Daikatana, unfortunately. All right, new poll question. Are you planning to subscribe to Xbox Game Pass going forward? Just yes or no. Let's just kind of gauge everyone, see how they're doing, see how you're feeling about it. And if you are planning to cancel, if you're already subscribed and you're planning to cancel, I think that would count as a no. So are you planning to subscribe to Xbox Game Pass going forward? That will be up on the youtube.com/@giantbomb. If you go to the community tab, you'll find that there. If you go to the live tab, you'll find all of our videos recently. If you go to giantbomb.com, you can find us there, I suppose.
Yes.
Jan Ochoa, thank you so much for spending. Oh, yeah, please.
Two more things.
Oh, yeah, hit the people with the facts. Yeah.
Sorry, Grubb, to kill the momentum.
No, all good.
For folks that missed it, our lovely Turbo Sean put together all of Metal Gear Scanlan into big ol' episodes on YouTube. So the whole season in a single video, put together everything. It's all in a YouTube playlist. If you missed it, it was behind the premium wall. we decided to bring that out of the vault. Go enjoy that as Drew Scanlon is guided by his Sherpa, Dan Reichert, through all of Metal Gear. That is all over there on the YouTube. And shouts out to Tom Caswell and Turbo Sean and Nikki Grayson, of course, for leading the charge, because Giant Bomb's turning 16, y'all. We're putting together a whole bunch of videos recapping and just going through fond memories and strolling down a memory lane from the current staff, all our peeps we work with now, and a couple of friends of the site and old faces you may recognize.
Also, there's a new Pickle Giraffe video for the Blight Club. Go watch that. It's very good.
I think Danny O'Dwyer's just dropped today, and Danny recounts the good old times of backflips and Bioforge.
Yep, good stuff. Definitely check all that out. It's been fun. Starting to see those come out made me realize, oh, I should do mine, and I did last night. Actually, me and Mike recorded ours simultaneously last night. I had to mute him. So you're getting plenty from us, everybody. All right, Jan, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games. Thank you all for watching and listening. You're the best audience in gaming, for real and for serious. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.